Hello, my name is Romeo, and this year marks my 6th year celebrating the World Refugee Day as a refugee in Uganda. My experience as a refugee has been a story. I have been to the utmost heights of my fears, uncertainty, chaos, and happiness too. When I arrived at the refugee camp, especially Rhino Camp Refugee Settlement in 2016 during the civil conflict in South Sudan, we all seem to believe that we are staying here for just months and we'll be back. I left most of my belongings, of course, I never had a lot, with the hope of being back home just after this political chaos and fights are done. But after some months, I became a father of one, and we began pushing to the next months, and the say continued that in some more months everything will be fine and we shall go back. We got stuck on VOA News every weekday 8 p.m. on our radio receivers are waiting to hear how things are back home and when we could be home. John Tanza is a famous man in the refugee camps, by the way. But the story went on and on and on. And we are now soon making a decade in the refugee camps, with some still listening and waiting for when things will change and the atmosphere to be welcoming for us. But we rather were welcomed by more of our brothers and sisters joining and telling us stories that are now appealing for a soon return. The hope of being back home soon killed, the aspirations to work and do something dead. I was vulnerable and unable to do anything for myself or my family. I became so numb with a large heap of uncertainty, not knowing what is coming next, because I was so afraid of what was coming next for my home. Grew deep feelings for Yine, beating myself so hard as if there was something I would do. The stories we would tell were only things of the past. I got so stuck in the past and made that to determine my day-to-day living a lot. Any bad thing was blamed to the conflict and the war that we had little to do, more so since we are now in a foreign country. But only after I understanding this is life now and we need to grow out of such a rust. That's when something poked me. I asked myself how long we would keep a hope that we don't see a future of it maturing soon. That's when I and my late friend Gofin began a school, Excel International Academy, that was owned by Yine. I became a teacher for some months, then met a longtime friend Jaiksana, who was a buddy back then in Yine and now had joined us in the camp. We got close and closer that we became more of workmates and friends. He introduced me into a new world of how better I can do something. We were a part of the first community-based organization called Community Development Center in the refugee camp. With the ROC-supported Defy Hate Now project, the CBO slowly grew to help refugees counter rumors and understand hate speech that was by 2016 a viral vice hitting this vulnerable target group of refugees who are so eager to get any information about their homeland. And from there, as an ICT teacher, I grew to love helping people more via the initiatives I was part of. Later, we started Platform Africa, an initiative sending in more access to information and access to education. We help refugees with access to knowing how to tell their stories, open the community library, and the space for refugee youths to learn real-life programs that could help them. But later, a second baby. The family kept on growing, challenges kept on coming too as we celebrated. And the hope for going home kept on dying one day after another until I had to wake up in a loom of being comfortable that this is where I'm starting my life. I can't use anything I built back then at home as a base anymore. The base is shattered as I had the news that our house and everything we had left got burned down to ashes. Actually, our home is just ash and a plain piece of land now. I got more serious after helping my community by believing that they can now start up and grow, to forget about going back to their homes soon, not as a way to discourage them from their roots, but as a way to make them wake up from the dream of going back there soon and rather start accepting realities like hunger, sickness, aging, and knowing that we need to take care of our families. From the small gigs that I'd started doing, I began a local loan program to help my fellow refugees with little capital to start small businesses, just as how many organizations had come in to help. And I began doing what I loved and understood my community, looked at opportunities, challenges, and threats, and built skills around it. I began enforcing some of my little dreams I loved before, like radio and audio editing. I began working on audio dramas as a way to educate and entertain the community via the Rogue-supported ASNet project in Platform Africa. We were able to deliver these dramas to community in the refugee camps via speaker boxes. They educated and informed the people. I was also able to link to other fellow producers and other fellow colleagues that helped build myself to now a podcaster trainer and a podcaster. I'm now a dubbing consultant with Ubongo, and an amazing job I love doing. And beyond all, via Platform Africa, I learned a lot: how to deal with people, how to understand the community, and very many skills, including the platform to air my skills now. And now, I work and do gigs so that I can support my children in school and myself. As much as I still strive to make a living, one big success is that I have come to believe and learn what I want and how I can get it. Though I just count myself a lucky fella. As much as I worked very hard for this, honestly, luck is something too. The refugee camp still remains a challenging space, with now the many challenges such as cut down of food ratio, limited opportunities, and everything just seems a luck to make out. The soils are not that well to do farming. Just by luck your yields do well. Keeping animals even seem luck for them to survive. But what I know is that by giving a refugee an opportunity in a skill or something to do, or a point to understand themselves, you give them a chance to experience that luck. And that is what I wish us as refugees to do. Help another if you can. And if you can see an opportunity, seize it to the maximum. I learned something in a very hard way in one of Jada Ramalapa's posts. And she said that life never waits and the world will never wait, regardless of your situation. It's your personal responsibility to realize your opportunities, maximize them, and grow. Thank you.